What's going on, everybody? RJ Ochoa here from SB Nation's bloggingtheboys.com. Hope all is well wherever you are. We hope you're happy, safe, healthy, and that you are ready for some Thursday night football. We are here to watch the first quarter of the New York Giants Washington football team together. It is a BTB watch along, and because it is, we have a panel of BTBers. It is myself, RJ Ochoa, Tony Catalina with us to talk all about his favorite team, the Washington football team. Tom Ryle here joining us in a unique circumstance. We'll get to that in just a moment. And Roy White with the family behind him. It's not a watch along if you're not, with everyone you love, truly. Roy, I'll start with you. Who wins tonight and why? New York Giants, Washington football team.
I think Washington wins this game. I mean, I think if you look at both teams, neither excites you offensively in their current states, right? I could have been, convinced that Washington could do some damage offensively with Ryan Fitzpatrick under center, but I don't feel that great about Tyler Heineke. And, with Saquon banged up on the New York Giants side of things, who will they rely on tonight? Kenny Golladay hasn't really made that much of an impression. Granted, it's only 1 week and he's dealing with those injuries, but Sterling Shepard is probably their one right now. And I don't think that's a name that really scares anybody. What tips the scales is that Washington defense is still intact. And I think that's probably what wins the game for them tonight.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Saquon Barkley, the least efficient running back in week 1 per Next Gen Stats. This is the way for Jason Garrett, as we all know. Tom, the most elite quality in this game is the Washington football team defense. I think you can make an argument that the worst quality in this game is the New York Giants quarterback situation. So the fact that those two things are going up against one another does seem like this is going to be a victory for Washington, which is why a lot of Cowboys fans are thinking, who do I root for? And I think the answer is New York. I think that Washington is a bigger threat long term.
Yeah, I'd like to see New York pull off an upset just because of that. I just don't think they've got it in them. I think they are going to be vying for that number 1 draft pick. They may prove me wrong, but
you're saying you think the Giants will be vying for the number 1 draft pick?
Yeah.
Right. Well, they also, Chicago's going to be in the running too, and they have that one as well. So New York's got some serious draft capital coming their way.
Yeah. And I just don't see that. I think Washington's got enough, particularly on defense, like Roy said. Now, with the problem we've got at quarterback, they may fool us and underwhelm our expectations, but we'll have to see what happens. I just figure that Washington's going to get a win out of this one.
Okay. All right. Tanner says definitely rooting for New York tonight. Tony, do you agree that this, is there anyone here that thinks that New York's the bigger threat long term, I guess is the question.
No. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm rooting for the Giants, right? I feel like Washington has the biggest threat to our season where we want to be this year, and having the Giants win and having the Washington start 0-2 is a good thing for the Cowboys.
Yeah, we've all got. Well, Tom doesn't. We'll be honest with our audience here. The whole purpose of this game is to watch it together, but this particular game is on NFL Network. So Tom, you don't have NFL Network, but we're all going to be talking about what's happening, going through it, etc. So we'll keep you up to date, of course. The broadcast now shows Joe Buck and Troy Aikman with NFL Network mic flags exclusively, not Fox. So an interesting conflict right there. But it's rainy, it's foggy, it's gross. So Roy, that combination with these two teams means, look, I know we're all pumped to have football back in our lives, but this is really going to test it.
Yeah, week 2 is officially where the honeymoon ends for football and Thursday night football, especially. Everybody rants and raves about how much they miss it. And week 2, this is where it begins, right? You see, this is the problem with having so many games on so many nights. You can't guarantee you're going to get a good football game every night. I actually think this probably will be a good football game from a close standpoint. I just don't think it's going to be a technically pretty football game to watch.
Yeah, Tom, Roy is right. You get in the middle of, I don't know, May or June, somebody will tweet man, what I wouldn't give to watch a Jaguars Titans Thursday night football game right now. This is this is that game. This is what you've been waiting for. It's prime time. What a shocker. The first Thursday night football game is the NFC East. I mean, that's just this is normal.
Yeah, they know they've got a huge built-in crowd. If you're going to have a game that nobody's going to watch, well, there's more nobody going to watch this game than something like that Jaguars matchup you were talking about. So they know that the New York metro area is going to tune in, if for no other reason, so they can find more reasons to be angry at Jason Garrett. And, the same thing with the people in the Washington metro area. They're going to be there just so they can throw slings and arrows at Dan Snyder.
New York is about to kick off. Tony, I want to know if you have any fun traditions that you do for games in your household. I mentioned this on our preview video last week. Since I was a kid, I've had the little mini helmets for, every team in the NFL. And I always, no matter who's playing, whether it's, Cowboys game, Thursday night football, Monday night football, I've got them ready. I got the matchup, and I've got the updated Washington helmet, obviously. Nobody's 0-0, but Washington returning the opening kickoff to about the 24-yard line. So it's time for Heineke. Tony, do you think, let's call it, does Washington score on this drive? Tony.
I don't think so. I don't think they go 3 and out, but I think they might go 4 and out.
Okay. Tom, do they score on this drive?
No.
Roy.
Yes, they score a field goal on this drive. I'm going to zig.
Okay.
And I had to zig from the very beginning. I hope you guys noticed, we're very symmetrical. I had glasses on to start this broadcast. I'm now on RJ's side, okay? Left side, no glasses. Yeah. So if I happen to see something incorrectly on the screen, you'll know why. But it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make this look better.
Oh, my gosh. First pass tipped off the hands of Logan Thomas. Almost an interception. Roy, do you have any fantasy players in tonight's game?
I do, actually. I have one. Antonio Gibson. Okay. So I'm rooting for Antonio.
Is this a league is this like a casual league? Is it your league of record? I mean,
some people, I guess, have the opinion that, you can only have one league of record. I mean, I feel like all the leagues I care equally about. There's a little bit different stakes in each one, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess, people always say, I guess the one that you're most invested in is the biggest one. But, I feel I'm invested in all of them. I don't take any of them lightly, I would say. I'm not and I think, people that are like, oh, I hate the guy that's rooting for everybody on the screen. Like, if you're doing that, that's totally fine. You're having fun. You're enjoying every game as a result of that. And, this Washington football team, they have quite a few fantasy relevant players. Logan Thomas being one of them who dropped one. Terry McLaurin obviously being another big name, and a couple of the running backs. Not so much J.D. McKissick.
So Tom is not watching the game. Not to totally ignore you, Roy, but Tom is not watching the game. He's tracking it on ESPN's GameCast. And so Tom said, "Ooh." And
you got to sync that up with us, Tom.
Yeah, Tom, your Gamecast a little bit ahead of our broadcast. Okay. Taylor Heineke takes a huge sack on third down. By the way, Adam Schefter called him Tyler Heineke in a hit on NFL Live this week. This poor dude can't even have his name said right by everybody. But a 3 and out, Tony, you called it. 4th and 19 for Tress Way. Booms it. Let's see where the Giants are going to start. Nice room to return the punt. Okay, almost to midfield before Daniel Jones turns this ball over. But let's see here. I wanted to bring this up. Baugh Family says, I'm kind of nervous that this Taylor guy is going to be like a Romo. Obviously an undrafted free agent. That's the comparison everybody always runs to make whenever there's an undrafted free agent quarterback. People really think that he is something special. And I don't want to poo-poo the guy. But, I mean, he had a fine performance in the wild card game for Washington. But, Tony, it does feel like now with Ryan Fitzpatrick set to miss 6 to 8 weeks, he's going to be exposed just a little bit.
I mean, well said. Because he had a good outing in the wild card game, and we'll see if that's a mirage or something that's more of an exception than the rule to his game. But I think more so it's hopeful optimism more than anything, right? Everybody sees Tony Romo and they're like, he's going to be Tony Romo, and more likely than not, he's not going to be. And we'll see what happens here.
What did you guys think of that ridiculous double team penalty there? Like, it was
God.
Was that
was amazing.
That got the penalty for that? What did he do wrong? All he did was get mugged by 2 dudes. Like, that was the Eiffel Tower situation.
I want to bring something up that this was on New York because they're moving further back. Wow, they're going to end up starting at their own 15-yard line. So somehow they've lost about 30 yards.
I think they're going to wind up about the 20, right? Because they're huddling at the 15.
Oh, you're right. But that NFL Network just showed a graphic for Daniel Jones that said he is 4-0 against Washington in his career, which is embarrassing if you're the Washington football team. But he is 4-19 versus everyone else.
God.
That's just. I mean, the fact that 2 of his other 4 wins were against the Cowboys is devastating. But wow, Saquon off to it. What a shocker, guys! Jason Garrett ran on first down.
No one saw that coming. That's unexpected.
It's the run established, guys. He's ready to go now.
Tom Baugh family says everyone is 4-0 against Washington. That's right. And Tanner says, is Heineke the Garrett Gilbert of the football team? One good game and it gets the media talking. That's kind of a good point, Tom.
He's better than that.
Yeah, it is.
Well, he just fits the archetype, though. That's kind of what
Yeah.
What kind we hoped Garrett Gilbert would be, perhaps.
Hey, Kyle Rudolph. Right on.
Yeah.
Again, we are rooting for the Giants in this game, right? We all agree that that's the best
100%.
outcome for the Cowboys.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I'm not gonna cheer for them.
I mean,
cool.
Tonight I might.
Daniel Jones doesn't have a touchdown turnover yet, so that's a plus.
Right. That is a win. Tommy has way too many of those. Were he anybody else with that type of turnover record, he would be thought of. He'd probably be out of a job had he not been drafted where he was taken.
The more I think about this game, the more I think how much if Washington loses to this Giants team, how much it's going to debilitate like the rest of the season. Because Taylor Heineke, right? I mean, he loses this game, and let's say they lose in sound fashion. I mean, how are you like confident? You're going to lean on your defense, or your defense just got carved up by Daniel Jones. So we'll see. I mean, we got a lot of football to go, but I feel like this is a big game for Washington.
Yeah, and
Chase Young racing over there. That's a terrifying thing.
This is Washington's second game, obviously, the season, but second at home as well. So they'd have two losses at home, 1 loss at home to a division rival. Defensive success is the hardest thing to stick year to year. We know that. There's so much data that tells us that. I never understood this whole offseason why people were like, I don't mean to like hate on Ron Rivera. He's an incredible person. There's no doubt about it. And the job he did last year to persevere through an enormous amount of things should be commended. But of the last like 4 teams to win a division with a sub 500 record, he has coached 2 of them. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that is not said enough. To win your division with a sub 500 record, an enormous amount of things have to go right for you in the luck department, right. and I just, I don't know. I mean, I was not a believer. It sucks that Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt. I never want anyone to get hurt, but I mean, I was never a believer that like they were going to be a legitimate threat this year. I don't know if anybody else was.
I mean, what's a legitimate threat?
They were a legitimate threat to the Cowboys winning the division.
Well, to the Cowboys, because are the Cowboys a 10-win team and maybe Washington's a 9-win team? I don't consider.
I don't even think Washington's
threat.
a 9-win team. I don't think they're that. Even with Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't believe that. And like we've talked so much about.
Now remember that only means 9-8, RJ.
I know, but this year's so interesting. 2/3 of the NFC East common games, even though we're watching one right now, are at the end of the season. And I believe Washington's final 5 games in a row are all against NFC East competition. There are 4 weeks in a row they play Dallas, Philly, which is dumb, but still the case. And Ryan Fitzpatrick is not exactly known for being good in December. 16 years he's been an NFL quarterback and never taken a team to the playoffs. So I just, I don't want to like 100% disagree with you, Roy, but yeah, like I don't think that they were.
But you kind of are.
I think they were like a 6-win team.
They were.
They were. And I don't think much has changed because I don't think Ryan Fitzpatrick's that good.
I kind of agree, RJ, exact with your saying. Like, I thought they were the biggest threat to the Cowboys this season, the NFC East. But it also felt like, what did that mean? 6-10. I mean, 6-11, 7-10. You know what I mean? So, I think I agreed in totality exactly what you said. I think you took the words right out of my mouth.
So I want to ask
yeah.
you both then, real quick, if they are not the biggest threat, are the Eagles the biggest threat?
Yeah, I thought that before last week, to be clear. Jason Garrett's on TV, by the way. Hey, I used to track this, so patting myself on the back. He used to wear an Apple Watch during games. He's not wearing an Apple Watch right now, just a standard normal timepiece. So, just whatever. Yeah, I think Philly's the biggest threat. Because I think that they have a really good offensive line. And again, like the Washington's hallmark trait is defensive success, which is the hardest thing to replicate year over year. They won 7 games last year. The 2 that they beat the Cowboys in, I think we all agree, had very particular outliers. The first one was the first game without Zach Martin. And I mean, they beat the crap out of the Cowboys. There's no denying that, although John Bostic had a dirty hit. And the second one was on Thanksgiving when the Cowboys were, not capable of focusing on football. And, even Mike McCarthy even said that he didn't know how they were going to play that week. I mean, it was obvious that a tragedy struck the team. And so those were 2 of their 7 wins. They beat the Bengals when they hurt Joe Burrow. They beat the 49ers with Nick Mullins. They got swept by this Giants team. I mean, so they don't have a quality win with Ron Rivera as their head coach. But to be fair, the Cowboys don't have one with Mike McCarthy as their head coach.
I mean,
go ahead.
No, I mean, I kind of just on that sentiment, I thought as a whole, I thought Washington was the biggest threat. I wasn't as high on Philly as, RJ is, or in that way of thinking. But I also didn't think Philly was as bad as, the media, everybody portrays them to be.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I figure in most division games in the league, but especially in the NFC East, it's a game by game, week by week.
Tony, did they call Chase Young for roughing the passer here? Is that
they
penalty?
sure did? Yes, it was.
Yep.
Wow,
that was a brutal penalty. That was a brutal
Rivera is
penalty.
livid.
I mean, he hugged him to the ground. I mean, that was.
There was no drive. There was no drive there. I would have thought
football.
there was a pickup or like some kind of drive into the ground. He held him on and that was it. Held him
Tom,
up.
I know you're stunned by this, but first and goal, first thing Jason Garrett does, plow it right up the middle, baby.
By the way, Washington's going to get a stop here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saquon's coming off the field on second and goal. Why?
Oh, wait. Is Jason Garrett still on the sidelines?
He is.
Do you guys think they're passing here on second down is the question?
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's nobody back there, so I'm cheating. But
you are cheating. You were supposed to sync up with us, you bastard.
I did, but I'm like a
I'm
half second ahead.
I told you that half second was going to make a difference. I knew it would.
I am not going to say what just happened.
Oh wow!
See,
who wants to announce it? Who wants to announce it?
You
Daniel Jones up the middle for a QB draw.
Why don't you announce it in the corner there?
Daniel Jones
touchdown.
Boom.
There we go.
Just as we all expected, the Giants came out with a nearly flawless drive marching right down the field. Daniel Jones goes 4 for 4 and scores a relatively easy touchdown.
So I wouldn't say – I know you're joking, Tom, but that penalty or that drive was significantly aided by the stupid roughing the passer penalty. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
I mean, they kick a field goal if not for that penalty. I mean,
agreed.
So
100%. I mean, that was a drive-changing penalty there. I mean, 3rd and 12, like you said, 3rd and distance, and you got 7 points on the board now because of the call.
Giants are good on the extra point. Must be nice to have that reliability. But yeah. So our official score for anybody who's literally keeping score at home, if our graphic would cooperate, Giants 7, Washington 0. Yeah. Bow family, I agree, says every single time he spreads it out inside the 10, he's going to run it every time. That's it. That's all they can do. I mean, they spent, the 2nd overall pick on Saquon Barkley to take him off the field and make it super predictable for Daniel Jones to run.
Daniel Jones, he's already up to about 25 yards in this game now. Running the ball.
It sounds like you've got Daniel Jones on your fantasy team, Roy.
No, okay, but I bet he's available if anybody out there wants him. I bet he's available.
He's a good, I think, sneaky good like fantasy stash because he's going to pick up some rushing points. He'll get a lot of garbage time points, kind of like a trendy version of what like Blake Bortles was circa 2016-ish. Tom, do you have anybody in this game on any of your fantasy teams? We didn't finish this discussion.
What is this fantasy football?
Okay, all right. So that's where we're going to go. Tony,
So I'm in 2 leagues. I take them both very seriously, and I do unfortunately have Terry McLaurin on one of them.
Okay.
Why is that
unfortunately?
unfortunate?
He's awesome.
I guess
I just hate rooting for other teams. Like, I really don't. I mean, genuinely, it comes. I think everybody who plays fantasy football and is a diehard fan has this moment in a game where you're like, I don't care what the fantasy stats look like. If the Cowboys win this football game, I'm okay with taking this fantasy loss.
Yeah, we all feel that same way.
You know?
So nobody asked me, which is mean of y'all.
I was just about to ask you. You stepped in
Pivot.
and asked yourself.
My league of record. I do have a league of record. 2-time champion, no big deal. I also have Terry McLaurin, and check this out. I have Dallas Goedert as my tight end, and I also have Kenny Galladay, who I did not start. But
I have Kenny Galladay as well, but can't trust him right now.
I have one of every other team's, which sucks. But let's see here. Darius Butler just had a tweet. We can all react to this, which is literally the point of us being here, and said, this Washington football defense has been all caps terrible to start this season on third down. Last weekend, Justin Herbert, we all know because Cowboys play the Chargers this weekend, or the Chargers were 14 of 19 on third down. The Giants are 2 of 2 so far tonight. So altogether, collectively, teams are 16 of 21 converting on third down against the Washington football team, which not to pat myself on the back, but that's why, I didn't believe in this team. That is the hardest thing to stick year to year to year. If anything regresses to the mean, it's defensive success.
Yeah, that would be great news for the Cowboys going into the game with the Chargers if the New York Giants get out there and convert like 75% of their third downs this game. That would
because you're saying that would prove that the Chargers weren't this like beast of converting on third downs.
Yeah, their stats got a boost from the fact that Washington has had that not just regression to the mean, but it looks like so far in the early sample they've regressed way past the mean and have swung in the other direction.
Yeah, when do we get the Cowboys progression to the mean? That seems overdue.
Yeah. Let's see here. I did not remember. Washington was 12th in defensive DVOA last week, so not super impressive.
They only allowed y'all are like overset. They only allowed 20 points to a Chargers team
that's
that a
not
lot
fair,
of people
though.
think is an
That's
offensive.
not fair because that stupid fumble happened. If not for that horrible play or penalty or ruling, the Chargers score at least 3 more points, probably 7 more points. Like that game gets a little bit further out of hand if that stupid rule doesn't. That rule has been dumb 1,000 times. The only time that rule has made sense was when Jeff Heath had Derek Carr fumble in. So,
well, for those that didn't see it, how did that play out? That rule. That ruling.
So Justin Herbert got, I guess, sacked, got hit while throwing. He was on the Washington 20-yard line, and his arm carried forward, but it was ruled a fumble, but his arm propelled what the officials deemed was a loose ball forward 20 yards into the end zone, and it rolled out the back of the end zone, so it became Washington's ball with a touchback, which is dumb.
The biggest fumble I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, geez.
He fumbled the ball 20 yards forward.
I mean, again, though, okay, so they score that. They make it 27. And, even still, I would die. I would kill to see the Cowboys defense hold an opponent to 27 points. If you told me on a given week, hey, the Cowboys are going to give up 27 and only 27, I would take it. I'd take it 10 games out of 10 with Dak Prescott. Because, unfortunately, he doesn't win unless he has to score 30 to 35 points.
Yeah, Bobby Belt, who you can hear everyone on Mondays on the Block and the Boys podcast network on Cowboys Cast, tracks this stat. The Cowboys have gone 18 consecutive. The last 18 times they have failed to score 30 points, they have lost. So they have needed to score 30 points or they lose, basically, is the point of the stat. Washington with another 3 and out, by the way. So
already punting.
I should have went to Vegas.
Yeah.
3 and out bets. I would have hit twice.
Ooh, God, that looked like an awful train wreck there on the attempted tackle by Washington. I thought 2 guys wound up taking each other out on that hit.
Tanner with a great question says, just curious. I know your opinion on the fumble in the end zone is a touchback rule. What would be your change to that rule? Because people are of the mindset like, hey, don't reward fumbling. Like, if you fumble, you should be penalized for it.
Ball for 20.
Yeah, I think in this, like, whoever, if the team committing that crime reverts to their own 20-yard line, but with the ball. So
not their own 20-yard line.
I think that's a fair penalty. Like, if you still want them to be penalized, like, if they're losing, what is it, 50 yards? I mean, fine. But like, that's fair to me. Like, at least that team's, still possessing the ball. But there is a penalty, obviously, but you still have the chance to score. Obviously, it's stupid that you give the ball away, for that particular reason. And some are more egregious than others, like the Derek Carr one. But I mean, that would be my rule. But because to me, like, I don't think it's fair that you get the ball at the 20. Because what if the play happened right on like a 50-yard gain? You know what I mean? Like, somebody's running 50 yards into the end zone and they fumble free.
What about adding a loss of down to that too?
Yeah, I'm fine with the loss of down. So it's your ball. It's your own 20, 2nd and 10. I'm fine with that.
Well, you could do that with even saying back to the original line of scrimmage at that point.
But then there's no penalty. There's or just maybe you're saying loss of down. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Maybe it's like 15 yards if you treat it like, like intentional grounding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the parallel I always have is, what if you just fumble out of bounds?
Yeah, it's fine. It's totally legal.
You just get the ball at the spot.
Right. Okay.
So I just want to be clear. What you're saying is that if you drive from your own 20 and you get to the 1 and you fumble it into the end zone and it goes out of bounds, you then have to start back over at your own 20.
That's one example, though. That's one example. What if you're at midfield and you have a huge 50 or 49-yard gain and you fumble it out the end zone? So then you get, like, you're rewarded for that. You know what I mean? You move the ball 30 yards. I know you don't get the touchdown, but you know what I mean? Like, there should be some semblance of a penalty.
I think we're on the same page here. I just think I'm hearing you say it differently. What you mean is you should have it on the opponent's 20. So if you fumble it out of the end zone,
I think you should go back to your own. So you should have 80 yards to go. There is still consequence to it.
That is the large. I mean, that would be consequential. That would be the largest.
Bow family agrees with me. So no big
football. That would be the largest penalty in football. Like that, I don't.
It might be
pass interference could wind up being an 80-yard penalty.
It could
one
be.
Penalty for 80 yards.
It could. I mean, only for Patrick Mahomes, maybe it could wind up.
See, Todd agrees with you, Roy. Says I would put him at the opponent's 20. But again, that's
or
there's
the 25
circumstances
where
that would be
where
unfair.
Kickoffs are.
Fine. How about like the 40? You know what I mean? Like we treat it. There's some middle ground here. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's fair. Like, because the 40 takes you out of field goal range. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be able to score after the penalty.
Okay.
But say you're like on a 5 or you know what I mean? You're going to be within striking range if that fumble happens. And if you go to what Roy said and put them at their 20, it might be a 10, 15-yard penalty. And then you throw in my idea of a loss of a down. Now you're talking about, second down at the 20.
Final offer, 35-yard line, loss of down. You could still a makeable field goal unless you're Greg Zuerlein. You know what I mean? Like, everything's pretty good. I think that's a nice balance and blend of all this. But ultimately, we all agree you should not lose the ball because, to Tom's point, you don't lose the ball if you fumble out of bounds.
Yeah.
Tanner, by the way, asked the question and generated the discussion. Says, I respectfully disagree. I think it stays the same as it is now. Thank you, Tanner. Appreciate it. We've got an injury on the field. The cart is coming out for Nick Gates, who I believe is making the start for the first time tonight. Let's see here. Twitter is now destroying the Washington football defense. You just hate to see it. Just really hate to see it.
You hate to see it.
I'm not trying to say that they were like,
because by the end of the night, there's going to be so many people that have patted you on the back that you're going to have like cupping marks.
Roy, I do want to steal Tom's point and present it as my own. What would you see tonight, or what else could you see tonight from the Giants that would make you feel better about the Chargers, like from a Cowboys slant?
What could I see from the Giants and I guess the success they might have.
Effectively, what could you see the Giants do to Washington that would make you feel like Tom mentioned, if the Giants continue to convert third downs, then our idea, our interpretation of Los Angeles is no longer like, whoa, they're elite at converting third downs.
I mean, they're passing the ball. Terrible. They're passing the ball with ease, right? So I suppose that would make me feel better thinking that maybe the Chargers' offensive weapons maybe aren't that special, but I know better than that. And the Cowboys' defense, especially the secondary, isn't in any kind of better position than Washington is. So I don't think there's anything New York could do against Washington that would make me feel better about their matchup against the Chargers, because they're so vastly different.
Tom has an answer. Another answer,
please.
Yeah, to see him shut them out completely. The Giants shut out Washington, then that would make me think that maybe the Chargers defense is something that the Cowboys can definitely handle, even with their current turmoil at right tackle.
Wait a minute. Explain this. Flesh it out, Tom. Explain it to me like I'm 5.
The Washington put up 16 points on the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the Giants, who don't exactly have a reputation for having a really great defense, were to shut Washington out, that would make me feel like, okay,
like LA's defense might not be a world beater. They're just,
yeah,
it's just Washington. Okay.
Yeah. That's the using the transitive principle of football competitiveness.
I would agree. I would agree with Tom there. Like, I guess I didn't consider that as a potential option, but I suppose yes, if they were somehow able to shut out the football team, then I think, damn, Chargers gave up 16 points to that. That's troublesome. That's
Tony. Do you have anything to add here? I know it's a complicated question to answer.
I got myself in a mental pretzel trying to put it all together there. But for me, bottom line, to make it, long story short, is if Washington, if New York is able to move the ball on Washington, which is the strength of their defense, right? And, let's say they, like you said, they put up more points than the Chargers did. I'm less worried about the Chargers' offensive passive attack. I'm a little more encouraged about, the Washington football team's, defense being exposed, and that's supposed to be the strength. I'm still not bought in on the Giants and everything like that, but I think the Giants winning this game and doing it in a handed fashion just makes me feel good all around.
Okay. This was a good discussion. I like that. Apparently we haven't seen it. At least I know we saw it, but apparently the replay on this Nick Gates injury is not good. So if you're queasy, be careful, but, not good.
Is it like Dak Prescott not good, that level?
Apparently. It seems bad. Apparently Joe Judge. We're at a commercial, Tom. I know you're not, or maybe you are with whatever you're watching. Are you watching the Big Brother double eviction, Tom? Is that what you're watching tonight?
I don't have anything on the tube. I've dedicated my time to you three.
Okay. Nice.
My fiance is watching double eviction.
A tweet from John Keim, who covers Washington. It's a photo. The entire Giants team went onto the field. Never. Great sign of camaraderie, but never a good sign when that happens. Unfortunately.
It was instant reaction. You can see.
Sorry, Tony. Ralph Vacciano, who covers the Giants, because we're all, as Tom mentioned, we're all locked in. We're not listening to what's happening, but apparently on the broadcast, Joe Bucks literally said, "It's bad enough that we're not going to show it to you."
Wow,
that's pretty bold.
Yep,
I think.
Jeez, that's a tough deal. You hate to see it from anybody. That's awful.
Yeah, tough cookies. Man, that sucks.
Yeah, you hate to see that happen to any team.
Anybody.
And this, that's their starting center. This could be. They got off to a pretty good start offensively. That might slow down in a hurry.
Yeah. He does seem to be in good spirits. Good for him. Wishing him a speedy recovery. It's hard to get back to it. 5 minutes.
And they locked him down in that gurney there.
Right.
It's like
5:52 left in the quarter. 2nd and 10. Giants ran the ball and are going to pick up a huge first down. Holy crap!
Wow. Barkley's
look
back.
At Chase Young. Gosh, Chase Young.
Whoa.
Oh, look, that ref took a shot there at the end.
Yeah.
Spill.
Man, the new center comes in and that looks like a hold. I don't know if you guys agree right there. That looked like a hold to me.
Yeah, the ref missed calls at every game.
Tom,
you're talking about on the center, right?
Yeah, the new center. Tom, what was the length of that play? I know you've got
41 yards.
Well, he's got 4 rushes for 41 yards. So Jason Garrett doesn't care that outside of that he's averaging, he's got 3 carries for 5 yards. Jason Garrett all of a sudden feels vindicated, like that confessional.
Let me double check that because that doesn't sound as right. It may have been to the 41-yard line. I'm not sure.
It was
I don't mean
4
to
for
totally,
46.
Nope. It was 40. It was 41 yards.
I don't mean to totally bag on Garrett, but the Giants just ran a reverse, so Jason Garrett feels like, just all right, guys. We were wild enough.
He's feeling it right now. He is in his bag. Jason Garrett is. He is going to all the classics that he loves.
Nick Gates, the lost Giants offensive lineman, was the second highest graded Giants offensive lineman in week 1. So certainly a notable loss for them.
For sure.
2nd and 4, Giants run it up the middle, basically, and it's 3rd down. Yikes. So y'all didn't think that was a hold on the new center?
I thought he got him up the field enough where, he kind of got turned around a little bit, but the Saquon, I feel like, was past him already. So I don't know. I mean, I suppose as Tom said, I could have seen it being a hold, but it felt like the rusher kind of rushed.
That's been called a hold. Is my point. Like that's been called a hold before.
And it's been let go.
Right.
I agree.
Depends on the
3rd
crew.
down. Tom already knows what happens. Oh, okay. All right.
RJ already knows what happened.
I just saw a photo of the Nick Gates thing. The photo doesn't look that bad. It's hard to tell within the context. I don't want to. But it's hard to see. It's a photo of a TV, so it's like a photo of a TV screen, so it's kind of grainy. But yeah,
I have saw it myself. That is not what it's supposed to look like.
On a different note, New York Jets offensive tackle Mekhi Becton, according to Adam Schefter, is going to undergo knee surgery. And we knew he was hurt, obviously, but we now get more details. He's going to miss 4 to 8 weeks. So New York team's not doing well. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Hang on, let me pull this up.
Did you guys just see that stat that they just showed?
No. Tell us.
120 yards gained for the Giants. -3 for the football team.
Nice. 3rd down. They convert. Everybody call it. Do they convert? Oh,
no.
Oh my Lord.
Oh, that's a false start. That's and really a delayed game too.
Apparently, on the broadcast, I'm gonna imagine Joe Buck referred to SoFi Stadium, where the Cowboys will be on Sunday, as Sci-Fi Stadium. So Twitter is having a lot of fun with this. But. So I saw this earlier. The Giants have had 0 weeks with a winning record since 2017. They are the only team in the NFL where that is the case. So they have been 500 or worse for 4 years.
That's an impressively bad stat there.
Yeah, it covers multiple coaches, quarterbacks, coordinators. Saquon Barkley's entire career. Man. Oh,
okay.
That's the football team defense.
Oh,
they
man.
showed up on a 3rd down, boys.
It looks like Ioannidis might be actually hurt as well.
That they only partly got that though, not to just bag on you, Roy, but because of the false start. You know what I mean? So that's not something they did. You know what I mean? They were aided by that.
Yeah, but they were also, hindered by the penalty. I won't be.
I'm just trying to hate on everyone. Bao family says, "Oh my gosh, I've just seen the leg." So yeah, the injury does not seem to be a good one.
I'm still looking for it.
Yeah.
I want to see these types of things. I admit, I do seek them out. I want to see it, and then when I see it, I'll react in a way that suggests that I didn't want to see it, but I sought it out, and I am going to find it.
I did not realize this, but Warren Sharp tweeted it out. I mean, just this is what happened. But so that penalty, I guess, was actually ruled a delay of game. That was the ultimate penalty, not the false start. But so they took a delay of game, the Giants did, after they called a timeout on third down. Think about the level of execution here and how poor it is. I mean, and then they took a sack. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I mean, man, it's tough. I have a question. I've asked this to people before, and you know, when I ask some of the people across the SB Nation universe, they laugh. Is it not fair to say, Tom? I ask you first, that the gap, we're talking quarterbacks here, the gap between Dak Prescott and whoever you think the next best quarterback in the NFC East is larger than the gap between the best and second best quarterbacks in any other division?
I think so. I could certainly make that argument. I'd have to, sit and think about it. But, like you've got in the NFC Central where you suddenly
NFC
have
Central doesn't exist anymore, Tom.
NFC North, I'm sorry. In the North, you have to question whether Aaron Rodgers is even showing up for work.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think it is. And I do believe that right now because Dak Prescott, I just have to say he's a top 5 quarterback. And within that, I don't think it really matters how you try to rank them. But,
right.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else has a quarterback right now that can even challenge.
Yeah, and I mean,
I think you could argue about the AFC East.
Josh Allen
and
who? Maybe right now it's Mac Jones, right?
Maybe it's Tua.
Maybe it's
Mac
That's a good
Jones.
one. Yeah, but like I think people are quick to go to like Patrick Mahomes, and it's like no, Justin Herbert's amazing. Like the gap between them is smaller. But DJ Dog 31 welcome says the last 3 plays with the Giants offense is a perfect analogy to the Garrett years as a head coach. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Next Thursday we've got Panthers Texans. Yikes! They're really warming this Thursday night football up hard or strong.
You realize the Texans could start this season 2-0 after we thought they were just absolutely the pits of the NFL.
Yeah. They very well could. I mean, I still wouldn't buy it. I still might pick the under on like 5 wins for them this season, but hey, pretty nice.
I love it.
Pretty nice start for them.
Putting from the Washington 38. Isn't that a great decision?
What do you do there? Would you have had them go for it there? I mean, they can't kick that field goal.
Is that exactly where they punted from, Tom?
It says the punt was from the Washington 38 yard line.
I'm pulling this up right now to measure or to see myself.
So you reject a 56, 55-yard field goal?
This would have been a 55.
Yeah, I might have tried to bang that one.
I mean, how do you do that? Like, how do you – and last week, Matt Rule, who many people wanted to be the Cowboys head coach, punted from the Jets' 33-yard line.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. A 50-yarder. Give it a shot.
Kickers are supposed – like, any kicker that's in the NFL now, I would assume you can hit a 50. Right? I would assume I could give you a shot at it.
50 and in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just ultimate cowardice. I mean, just if you are punting inside the 40, so that's the thing. That's why the 40 is a great point because you can't punt from there. You know what I mean? If back to our penalty thing, you know what I mean? Like it should be an area where you can't punt. Oh my gosh, that was. I mean, it wasn't amazing. Sorry, I freaked out a little bit. But,
it's a good catch.
So it's a good catch.
It was a very confident play from Heineke. That's what's got you shocked.
Yeah. I thought he sailed
first down. You saw a first down. Yeah, I thought he might have overthrown it too, but he got up there and went and got it.
We're over a week into this as far as like regular season action is concerned, or like concerned. I hate the number changes. I hate them so much.
I don't like it either.
I hate it. I hated it when the rule was announced. I hate it. I don't like this at all.
I'm indifferent.
Bogies.
I don't. I don't have a strong opinion on it. I appreciated it in college. In the NFL, I just always thought they would just keep it the way it is because the NFL is just different, But the players seem to love it.
It's it's its own, like, let the NFL be the NFL. It's what separates them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's stupid.
So
I don't like it.
So do you like Diggs in 7? Do you think Diggs looks bad?
That's the exception. That's the exception. He looks cool. And Cedric Wilson kind of looks cool in 1.
I like the 1. I like the 1.
Oh, you like Parsons at 11, do you?
Stupid. I hate it. I hate Jabril Cox in 14. Like, that is so unnatural. And what I hate is I haven't seen it yet, but eventually we're going to end up with like if Diggs is guarding, a 7, we're going to end up with 7-on-7. That's stupid. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
As Tom and I were talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say it's so tough when you get old and it's hard to adapt to change like you guys. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just having fun.
I mean, I liked it just when you could look up and know, okay, and Tom Brady kind of spoke to that. Like, that's the position that I'm looking at, right? It's just quicker to identify things. Tom kind of mentioned this on Riled Up when we recorded yesterday, and you can check that podcast out on the Blogging Boys Podcast Network if you want to check that out. Shameless plug, but we're both here, so why not? You like that mug too, huh? He actually kind of mentioned that Micah Parsons could be lining up along the defensive line. 11 rushing the quarterback. That is
11 sacking 10. 11
that's an
sacking
abomination.
10. It's stupid. It's gross and hideous, and we're all worse off for it. But the Ball family says, I hate the number change, hate it. And DJ Dog 31 says, we had 7-on-7 crime in the first game when Diggs picked off the pass from Fournette. That's a great point. Wow. That is the end of the quarter. It is 7-0. Thanks everyone who joined our watch along. This is a divisional game, which is why we decided to do it. Maybe we'll do this throughout the season. If you liked it, let us know. You can hit all of us up on Twitter. Tony's on Twitter at Tony_Catalina, Tom at TomRalBTB, Roy at RW3. I am at RJ Ochoa. You can hear Tom and Roy every Thursday on Riled Up on the Blog of the Boys Podcast Network that Roy mentioned. Subscribe to the Blog of the Boys Podcast Network. Leave a rating, write a review. You can read Tony and Tom's work at bloggingtheboys.com. All these guys are great. Last thing before we leave.
Hey, but what does RJ do? What about all the awesome shows that
I just hang out.
Puts together?
I just hang out.
We got the Ocho on the Daily Pod. We got
daily updates. Yeah. We also have daily updates here on the YouTube channel as well for everyone who just you want 5 minutes to catch you up on what's going on. We offer that here on the YouTube channel also. So
to subscribe.
We all love to talk about the Cowboys, and the fact that we get to do it is pretty sick. And the fact that we get to do it with each other is even sicker. Okay. Let's pick the game. Who wins? Giants are up 7-0. So Tony, and 2 questions: who wins? And the line that I last saw was Washington by 3.5. Do they ultimately cover?
Give me a final score of Giants 24, Washington 17. So the Washington don't cover.
Okay, Tom.
I think Washington will turn it around and that they will cover. I'll just take the flip side. I'll say it'll be 24-17 Washington.
Roy.
Give me 21-17. I think Washington wins it. Well, 21. You said 2.5. 21-19.
It was 3. It was 3.5. The last line I saw was Washington 3.5.
Okay, then give me 21-18. I don't think they'll cover, but I think they'll win the game.
Donnie says Giants by 17, going bold. Bow family says Giants win 20-16. I'll say Washington wins 17-10. So, not a lot more points coming at your way. Make sure everybody you get a snack because you're going to need it. But thanks for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next time.